I don't always sit in my car with a helmet on in the garage with the garage door closed. But when I do, it's probably because I just got off my bike and I have helmet hair. No one wants to see that. And I want to make a video. And I believe in Carpe Diem. And so here I am. It occurred to me to video document specifically why I follow Jesus. I'm not sure why it occurred to me now. I do know life seems a little more precarious and fragile and precious and fleeting these days. So in case I get COVID and die, or I get eaten by a mountain lion while riding my bike, here's my video to clarify my why, in case anyone wondered. And feel free to use this at my funeral if you want. Just make sure you play Amazing Grace in Brick House. I think there are a lot of misconceptions about what it means to be a Christian, maybe especially lately. And I'd like you to know what it means to me. Faith/God/Christianity. I can't point to one moment of conversion or salvation. For me, it was a long process and some pivotal moments. I was raised as a Christian. As a child and young adult, I believed in a big God. But I didn't really grasp the Jesus piece until my early 30s. Although I had examples of grace my entire life, the biggest being my parents who took me in as a foster child, I didn't really know what grace was as it related to Jesus and what he did when he went to the cross. And I didn't know what I didn't know. 28 was a huge turning point for me in my life. Up until that time, I really struggled with an internal, debilitating shame I felt connected to my biological parents. Through a series of miracles, ways that I felt God working to convince me that because he created me, he loved me, and I was his own, he gave me a healing of my heart. After that point, I truly lived differently. I stopped trying to work as much for love and approval, and was for the first time beginning to accept that I was loved regardless of my biological heritage. So that was a life-changing time for me for sure. I was finally accepting that I was loved, but I still had another huge spiritual transition a few years after that, when I was finally able to begin to grasp the concept of grace, that it wasn't what I did, but what Christ did. One of the reasons for this shift was a book I read by Max Lucado called In the Grip of Grace. That's when I was able to begin to let go of this false, impossible idea of earning my way into heaven, and to let go of a works-based salvation mindset. I still have so much to learn. There is so much more that I don't understand than do. I grapple with hard questions all the time, like all the time. I really identify with John chapter 9 and the man born blind who was questioned about who Jesus was. Like him, all I know is I was blind and now I see. I still have a lot of unanswered questions, things I just don't get. I often have wobbly faith. Clearly, I'm not a theologian or an apologist. I don't have 100 scriptures memorized. But because of what I've seen in my life, especially because of that new sight, I have enough proof beyond a reasonable doubt. I have enough evidence in a loving God to believe. And I'm more more than happy to accept that free gift of grace and salvation. It actually makes more sense for me to believe than not. Nature alone informs that decision. It's part of the reason I ride my mountain bike every day. I was at the dentist a couple of days ago, and I sat for an hour in that chair with my mouth wide and my eyes wider, watching a Netflix show called Moving Art. When I look at nature and creation, to me, it's the opening and closing argument for God. If you've had a hard time believing in Christianity because of Christians, I am so sorry. I flat out admit my wobbly faith. Hopefully with time and a little better vision, my gait will get a little more straight. Honestly though, you're better off following Jesus than me.